Good evening, welcome to MTG Specs. This evening I would like to build a Bloomburrow commander deck featuring only Bloomburrow creatures, Bloomburrow legendaries, Bloomburrow art, only cards from the main set. We can use any of the cards from the commander decks that are reprints, and any of the cards from the Commander decks that bear Bloomburrow art. So the whole thing is just a Bloomburrow fest. I did this with Fallout previously, and it was very successful. We built Liberty Prime, which is a deck I now have in paper because I loved it so much and it represented one of my favourite franchises. And Bloomburrow is my favourite set since Neon Kamigawa, and it's a set I've been thinking about a lot since, well, it's only been out for a week, but had a really good pre-release at home, played lots and lots and lots of Bloomburrow, and I think it's incredible, and I wish blocks still were a thing because I want to stay in the valley for as long as possible. So the whole purpose of this is to create something wonderful that's just Bloomburrow, and I have been thinking about how we can achieve that, so I've done a little bit of prep before we start. I believe there will be an ad coming up for some of you in the next 8 seconds, so I will be back in a moment and we will continue with the stream. Okay, so what I've done is I've had a look at the different legendary creatures that we can use as our commander. And I thought what we could do is use a 3-colour legendary because it allows us to put more cards into the deck from the Bloomburrow sets rather than a mono or 2-coloured. And I don't believe there is a 4 or 5-coloured legendary in the set. So here is the, these are all the legendary creatures that we could choose from. There's 74 legendaries from among the set and also the commander decks themselves. But these are the ones I narrowed it down to. So, oh, you can't see them. Hold on one second. Here we go. Let's move me out. Oh. Let's move me out of the way. Can I do it? There we go. Move myself over here. So I narrowed it down to these guys. So we had all these options here. Lots and lots of options for our legendary creature. But I don't want to use someone like Derevi, even though he has Bloomburrow art, and I'd be quite happy to put him into the 99. Derevi is his own character. This has Bloomburrow art. That's fine. I just don't want him to head up the deck. And then we've got cards like Clement the Worrywart, which is great, but because it's only 2 colours, my concern is that we wouldn't have the full spectrum of beautiful things from Bloomburrow. We just have Simic, and we don't want just Simic. So I've narrowed it down to these. We've got Arthur, Marigold Knight. He is a good option for us because he's kind of generic, and although I think the card itself isn't particularly great because there are so many hoops to jump through with Arthur. We have got to attack with another creature. We have got to reveal the top 6 cards of our library, which means we could potentially whiff. He costs 5. I know he has haste, which kind of mitigates this thing. He can come into play and attack straight away, so we don't have to wait. But having to attack, and 2 things attack, and what are people saying? This is really rubbish Wynota, which I don't think is a bad thing because Wynota's busted. So Arthur is definitely a choice we could make. So if Arthur is your choice, you could pop that into the chat. That would be great. We also have the choice of Balin the Haymaker. And for me, this would be a difficult build because not every... Well, it depends how many cards in the set are making tokens. And there are a fair few. We've got white in the colour identity, and I know the rabbits like to well multiply like rabbits. So that might be a good option. but I'm not sure about the options we have in red for that. We could look at it. I mean, there's some Offspring. Obviously, Offspring is a token, so we could have a look at it. Balin is a possibility. It's less generic than Arthur, so we might have less options. We'll see. The other choice is Flubs, which, I mean, I love Flubs. Flubs is a guy that could get some love from me, but I'm not sure that this set on its own is going to provide us with the gas that Flubs needs. Amazing card. If you're not sure what it does, it is on the screen. But basically, whenever you play a land or cast a spell, draw a card if you have no cards in your hand. So we'd have to have some efficient ways to make sure that was happening. Flubs feels like it needs cards from outside of Bloomburrow. So not sure about Flubs. Moving on to Glob, Calamity's Augur. Now, this is a card that is quite generic. And I know that there are spells with mana value 4 or greater in this. He might be a really good generic kind of poster child for our deck. So he is a possibility. Love the Death Touch. Love the big butt of 4 for 3 mana. Sultai colours, pretty cool. I do like that there's some black in there because Bloomburrow is very cutesy, but the black part of it might give it a little bit of an edge. So that's a potential as well. And we've also got, one second, Helga, Skittish Seer. Again, another one that's fairly generic. Whoa, sorry. Pretty cool. I do like that there's some black in there because Bloomburrow is... Sorry, I was just checking that my sound was on, and it clearly is. Okay, so Helgish Skittish Seer. Whenever you cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater, you draw a card, gain 1 life, and put a +1 counter on Helga. And then you can tap her based on her power. You can add some mana that you can use to cast creature spells. Again, this is fairly generic, so we could build a Helga deck, and we could put lots of cards from the set in it. Mr. Foxglove. Very specific ability, all about him coming into play and then drawing the difference between him and another player's hand size, so that you can draw cards up to that and then put a creature from your hand into play if you didn't actually get to do that drawing part. So you've got equal cards in your hand and equal cards in their hand. So he feels very specific, and I don't feel like we're going to have enough cards in Bant from this set to make Mr. Foxglove work without just using everything that's in the Peace Offering Commander deck, and we don't want to recreate that. So I wouldn't say Mr. Foxglove is a choice. Miss Bumbleflower might be a choice because in my upgrade guide you may have seen I removed Jolly Gerbils because there wasn't enough cards that were giving gifts, and I feel like there are more cards that give gifts in this set and we could put them into a Miss Bumbleflower build. However, I've built her, or at least upgraded her, and I'm not sure that she would be the most interesting choice. Great card, really great card, love the deck, but I don't know if that's our choice. Finally, one that's actually really a great choice is Zinnia Valley's Voice, because it's dealing with creatures all having offspring. And as we know in Bloomburrow, there are lots and lots and lots of creatures. So that would be a really good option as well. So this is the part where I know I'm doing an impromptu live stream, which means this is not going to be that well viewed. And as much as I'd like to co-create this with everybody, it might just be me talking to myself. And that's not a problem because it'll be available for people to look at afterwards. I would say we take out Mr. Foxglove. That ability needs cards outside of the Bloomburrow set. I say we take out Flubs. I don't think Flubs is the guy that we can use here. He needs cards outside of the set to make him sing. That drops us down to these 6. Arthur, Balin, Glab, Helga, Miss Bumbleflower and Zinnia. I'm going to cut Miss Bumbleflower. I don't think we need to rebuild what she can do. That leaves us with 5. So these are the 5 to choose from. I like the fact that Balin, Glab, Helga and Zinnia are all 3 mana value, so they get on the board quicker. And I've already said my misgivings about Arthur, that he just too many hoops to jump through. I pulled him out of the Zinnia Commander deck the other day, and I thought, I'm going to build Arthur. I'm very excited about Arthur. I was going to throw a Dolmen Gate in there and a sneak attack, and I was going to go for it, and it was going to be amazing. And then I looked at Arthur and I thought, oh my word, there's so much he has to do. Why can't it just be him attacking and attacking with another creature and them both attacking and hoping that they don't die? And where's the evasion? And oh my word, what if I whiff? So as cute as Arthur is, I don't think he's the mouse for me. So we're going to say no to Arthur, which leaves us with these 4. So what do you think? I see there are 2 viewers. I think one of them's me. And that's fine. I am really drawn to building either Glab or Helga. And I know they are super generic, but that's what we need for this sort of build. If you're going to build something that's based on one set or one plane, I always think the more generic option is the way to go. Zinnia would be great, or Zinnia would be great because of that offspring ability, and Balin would be great if we had access to loads of token makers. So out of these 4, I'm quite drawn to Glab, and I'm drawn to Glab because of that black mana pip, because I want to delve into... I don't know, though. Do we go cutesy? Because it is Bloomburrow. Maybe we should go down the Bant Helga route. Right, let's have a look at both those cards. So Helga. Creature spells, mana value 4 or greater. Glab is lands and spells with mana value 4 or greater. Cast from the top of your library. I think Helga's the more interesting one out of the 2. I know that's a wall of text, but I think that's far more interesting. I think that's the one I'm going with. As much as I'm drawn to Zinnia, I actually built her as a 1-hour binder build recently. So we could always do this again. All right, that's it. We're going with Helga. Helga's the one. Excellent. Great. So the first thing we have to do then is have a look at all of the creature spells with mana value 4 or greater that we can put into this deck from Bloomburrow. So we're going to go back into Scryfall and we are going to do a new search. So if we go back, we should have the Bloomburrow sets in as part of our search already. Just double check. Nope, they've come out. Right. Okay, so we're going to go. Oh yeah, there they are. Bloomburrow and Bloomburrow Commander. And we want the stats. Mana value equal to or more, greater than or equal to 4. And we want creatures. We're going to find out in a minute if we can actually build this or not with this search. Type line, creature. And Helga is Bant. So Commander, white, green, blue. Search with these options. Oh no, there's only 17 cards. Only 17 options for us. Oh no, I don't... That is not great. Let's have a look at the options we've got. So Arasta I won't want to put in this because even though it is in the Commander deck, it doesn't have Bloomburrow art. So that's not going to represent Bloomburrow. Neither does Bed. That takes 2 out for us. Oh no. No. Okay. I don't think Helga's the one for us. That's a shame. I think we're going to have to go Zinnia. I think Zinnia is now the option because there's going to be so many creatures and there's going to be no restriction on their mana value. Okay. Sorry, Helga. You are out. And Zinnia is in. Lovely. Okay. I mean, Zinnia does give us some interesting puzzles to solve around mana value because you want the mana value to be quite low for Zinnia. So let's go for that one. So Zinnia is in, which means we need to change our Scryfall search. Let's go back. Oh, no. This way. So we want creatures again. And we want them in white, blue, and red. Jeskai. But we do not need to specify the mana value, so we can get rid of this. We do not need this, and we can search for these options. So we had 17 options with Helga. We now have 139 options. Okay, this will make a deck. So I searched with legendary creatures by accident. What for? Oh, thank you so much, King Draco. Right, hold on. Maybe Helga's back in. Type line creature. I'm going to do one more check. So Helga. See, this is why you want people in the chat so they can spot your mistakes. Helga Skittish Seer. Just reminding myself. Bant. Okay. Bant, Bant, Bant. Creature. Right, we don't have legendary on. Let's go. What have I done now? What have I done? Oh, I know, I didn't do this. Mana value 4 or greater. What am I doing? What's happened? Oh, have I put it into it? Right, turn the colours off here. Okay, white, blue, green. Let's do it. Perfect. Thank you so much. Right, she might be back on the menu. I love that. Helga. Cast a creature spell with mana value 4 or greater. You draw a card. You gain 1 life and put a +1/+1 counter on Helga Skittish Seer. Add X mana of any one colour, where X is Helga Skittish Seer's power. Spend this mana only to cast creature spells with mana value 4 or greater, or creature spells with X in their mana cost. Bant loves to do lots of ramping and drawing. This is definitely something we're going to need to do with Helga to make sure that we are going to be drawing those cards and gaining that life and making her super big. Let's have a look at the creature options we have. Remember, I'm looking for Bloomburrow art or Bloomburrow designs. So the top 4 are out. Love this card. Beza. Excellent card. The one that basically equalizes your resources when you are behind. So there's an option there. We've got synergy with +1/+1 counters here that Zinnia has +1/+1 counters synergy here. That would work quite well together. Got a daring Wave Rider. When it enters, you may cast target instant sorcery spell. That is the main worry about building something generic, that all the disparate parts are not going to come together in a way that's helpful. This is why I'm leaning back on Zinnia, because at least you're doubling up on whatever shenanigans you are doing. Sorry for saying shenanigans. And like, imagine doubling up on an Evercoat air sign and getting 2 more hideaways. That's not bad. Right, my feelings are, just looking at the cards that we have available to us, the parts are too disparate, but I'm happy to double up on those parts, so I'd rather go Zinnia. But I'm open. Let's keep looking. Oh, this artwork is so beautiful. And I love it's not legendary. Right, I'm not seeing the synergy. I'm going to go back. I think, Helga, I'm ever so sorry. Once again, I'm going to remove you. I don't think you're the one for us. So, Helga, you are out, I'm afraid. And instead of Helga, we are going to go with Zinnia. Here we go. Zinnia is in. Okay, we're building Zinnia. Oh, hello, who's this? Just watched your upgrade video for the animated army deck. I'm pretty new to Magic, and the Precon is my first deck ever, so I really appreciated the upgrade suggestions. Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate that. I think that deck is really, really cool. I think it's a really cool deck, and I think with some tweaks, it could actually be an incredibly powerful deck for somebody who's just getting involved in this amazing game. So I'm very pleased that that's helping you be part of Magic, because it's absolutely amazing. And you're very welcome here. Thanks for popping by. Right, we're doing Zinnia. Exciting. So we need to once again change our Scryfall search. So let's have another look. Both Bloomburrow is on there. We don't need to worry about the mana value thing anymore. I think that is going to be too much of a restriction for making a Bloomburrow only deck. Our commander is white, blue, and red. We're looking for creatures. Okay, let's look for creatures that are going to have the most impact if we are able to pay 2 and create an offspring, a 1/1 copy of that creature. Right. I want to use just the Bloomburrow designs and Bloomburrow art, as much as I think Aether Challenger is so amazing. Such a good card, especially, and it's in the Zinnia Precon already. I think we say no to that, because it doesn't have Bloomburrow art. Whereas a Gate Instigator, who's in that Precon, we are going to put that in. It says whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. So it's kind of that Perforos ability of something coming into play and doing damage. And I think it's going to be chip damage. You've got 3 opponents, so I don't think it's that powerful. But it already comes with Offspring. So let's drag this in, our first card. Where have you gone? It says it's Oh, okay, close this. There we go. Let's make Zinnia the commander. Set commander. Wonderful. Okay, we've got our first 2 cards. Let's have a look. Let's keep going. So, do we want Alania, Divergent Storm? Whenever you cast a spell, if it's the first instant spell, the first sorcery spell, or the first otter spell other than Alania you've cast this turn, you may have target opponent draw a card. And if you do copy that spell, you may choose new targets for that copy. So, if there's a lot of otters, and I know there are in red and blue, then it'd almost be redundancy for Zinnia because we would be copying the otter spell. So I'm going to drag her in, but tentatively pop her into the maybe board, because it will depend on how many otters we can put into this deck. But I actually quite like the idea of a Zinnia Is It Otters sub-theme. That's pretty cool. And then we'd have backup with Alania. Okay, we'll look at that. Right, next we've got Alania's Pathmaker. When it enters, exile the top card of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play that card. And if it was given Offspring, then you would get that twice. And it's an otter. Right, I'm dragging it in to the maybe board. Who knows? That might be the path. This is the fun of putting these decks together. Oh, Arthur could be part of this deck, but it's a legendary creature, which are... the reason I'm pausing is I'm just thinking if you can't do Offspring for a legendary creature, because it doesn't say it becomes non-legendary. But Alani is the redundancy, whereas Arthur I don't think would work in this deck. I'm going to drag... Have I dragged this already? Yeah, I've dragged that already. Okay, let's keep going. We've got an Azure Beastbinder. Vigilance. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater. It costs 2, which means it's very... I want to say offspringable, but we all know that isn't a word. We can create offspring with it quite easily if we have 4 mana. And it doesn't have an ETB, but it would be 2 creatures that can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater, which is Skulk, in a sense. Whenever Azure Beastbinder attacks up to 1 target artifact, creature, or planeswalker an opponent controls, lose ability until your next turn. If it's a creature, it also has base... Right, that's going in. This is... Oh, it's a rat rogue. Interesting. I like that. I like that, because what we're going to do with our creatures, we're going to swing them. Eric, you've said, I think that threefold Thunderhulk upgrade is honestly goated. No other creator suggested it, and I burst out laughing when you mentioned you can make 14 tokens. Right there with you, mate. 100%. If you don't know about this, threefold Thunderhulk, when it comes into play for... This is going off on a divergent path here, but in the animated army deck, Bellow, because threefold Thunderhulk... Did I show it to you? I will show it to you. So we should take a quick break from this. We can go back in a second. Sorry, I just want to share the joy of this. Thunderhulk. So it's a 0/0 artifact, but Bellow makes it a 4/4 artifact with 3+1/+1 counters on it. When it enters, it creates 1/1 colourless gnome artifact creatures equal to its power, which was 7. And then when it attacks, it does that as well. But because Bellow's made it into a 4 and you've got 3+1/+1 counters on it, you create 14 tokens in the same turn, which is pretty amazing. Chuck in a coat of arms, which says all creatures get +1/+1 for any other creature of the same type. And you would end up with 14 14s. That's maths. It's late. There's another one there for you, Eric. Coat of Arms would be cool with that. It wouldn't happen very often, but it would be pretty cool. Coat of Arms would be really cool in a Zinnia deck because the types would see each other, but we haven't got access to that. Anyway, that was a tangent, which I was very happy to go on. Let's move back to what we're doing. Right, so we've had Azure Beastbinder. What's next? Barkform Harvester. I don't see any reason why we would want to double that, so I'm going to move on to Bellowing Crier. Oh, I like this card. It's just a standard sifting sort of thing. Draw a card, discard a card, but for 4, you'd be able to do that a couple of times. We will drag it in unless we have some better choices as we go. But it's nice to include a frog because, you know, Bloomburrow. What's next? Bazer. Okay, we can't really do the offspringing thing with it, but it's a good card. So I'm going to take it across. I'm going to put it into the maybe board. because we might have room for some other stuff. Blade Splicer, no. Body of Knowledge, Boss's Chauffeur. Again, I'm not putting in things that don't have Bloomburrow art. Bramble Guard Captain. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is Bramble Guard Captain's power. So, if we offspring that, then there will be 2 creatures that give target creature +X, so that would be +3 because the offspring token is a 1/1. Is it worth it for 6 mana to be able to do that? I don't think so. Obviously, remember Zinnia's other power, which is it gets +X/+0 for each 1/1 creature. So you would be creating 1/1 creatures and then giving it an extra +3. Okay, talked myself into that one. Plus, it's a mouse. We can always take it out if we think it's too weak. We will see. Bravekin Duo. Target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. I like this because it's 1, and for 3 we can have 2 copies of it, and those things will boost Zinnia, and also for 1 we can make Zinnia bigger, because there is a Voltron kind of win aspect to having Zinnia as well, so we can put that in. I mean, we can make this quite budget, and that'd be quite cool, and people don't expect 1 casting cost cheapish rabbit mice to have any effect on the board. They don't tend to target them. We will see. We're going to put the instants and sorceries in to protect the board and all those things as well. We might lean into gifts. We might put in the gerbils, because I love the jolly gerbils. We'll see. Brazen Collector. First strike. When it attacks, add red. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. I'm going to pop it in. I'm not massively into it, but I mean, again, there is a certain part of this where we're creating a theme, a theme. Yeah, I'm not blown away by it. Right, we do have Bria here, so we can't use Offspring with it, but it will give our creatures prowess, and whenever we cast a non-creature spell, target creature control can't be blocked this turn, and that target creature could be Zinnia, and having a wide spread of creatures because of Offspring, and we could do this Otter sub-theme. So again, I'm going to put it in the maybe board. Excuse me. We'll see how many Otters we have in that maybe board. We will see. Let's go to Bright Blade Stoat. First strike, lifelink. Why not? There we go. Banished Heart doesn't have the art we want. Byway Barterer. It's a 3, so it would cost 5 for the Offspring. Menace. Whenever you expend 4, you may discard your hand. If you do, draw 2 cards. I can't see us expending 4. No, hold on. Expend 4. You expend 4 as you spend your 4th total mana to cast spells. Is Offspring a... You can cut an additional 2 as you cast, so it is a cast cost. So we're going to be doing that quite a lot, or wanting to do that quite a lot. So, yeah, I think that's cool. We are actually getting a benefit for using the Offspring. Cool. Chasm Skulker, Circuit Mender don't have the art we want. Cloud Blazer, nope. Coruscation Mage. I hear lots of good things about this one. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. I will bring it across. I will again put it into the maybe board as part of this sub-theme. I'm not sure how many non-creature spells we're going to be casting in a deck that wants lots of creatures, but we've moved it across. Daring Wave Rider. When Daring Wave Rider enters, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard without paying its mana cost. If the spell would be put into your graveyard, exile it instead. So, I mean, we would have to have 8 mana to Offspring that, but we'd be able to cast 2 spells of mana value 4 or less from our graveyard. But again, we don't know if the spell theme is what we're going to do. We'll put it in the sideboard. I secretly want to do that very much. If we get a lot of Otters, this is going to be a Zinnia Otters spellcasting theme, and that's pretty unique. We'll see. Dowerport Mage. Whenever one or more other creatures you control leave the battlefield without dying, draw a card. Return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. So do we put this in because we could return a creature to our hand and then recast it with the offspring cost? Potentially. Let's put it in. When I build decks, I tend to just go for it and just chuck everything in the deck, and then you'll end up being over 100 cards, and then that's when you start making the difficult decisions. Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest. Flying. When it enters or attacks, exile the top X cards of your library. X is the number of creature control of power 4 or greater. No, it's a legendary creature. It's more of a power 4 theme. I can't see that being something we're going to lean into. Drift Gloom Coyote. When Drift Gloom Coyote enters, got an enters ability, exile target creature an opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. If that creature has power 2 or less, put a +1 counter on it. So it's an exile effect, and if we had 7, we would be able to exile 2 things. I will drag it across for now. It seems quite expensive, but not everything has to be about the offspring. We will see. Let's move across to... Eddie Merc Crab. Flash. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each instant sorcery card in your graveyard. Enters tapped if it's not your turn. When it enters, tap up to 2 target creatures. I'm going to say no to this, although it would have some synergy with the potential Otter theme. If it had potential for the Otter theme, it would still be too expensive. No, not doing that one. Eluge, the Shoreless Sea. Power and toughness are equal to the number of islands you control. When it enters or attacks, put a flood counter on target land. It's an island in addition to its other types for as long as it has flood counter on it. The first instant sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue or 1... No. I already know that's a no. Ember Heart Challenger. Haste. Prowess. Prowess is there again when it... Well, it's part of the... It's the theme of the set, one of the themes. Whenever Ember Heart Challenger becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, exile the top card of your library until end of turn. You may play that card. I like it for the potential Prowessy Otter theme, so I'm going to drag it across and place it into the maybe board. It costs 2, which is great. That's very low cost for a potential offspring. So let's move on to Essence Challenger. As long as you lost life this turn, it has flying and vigilance. When you gain life, you put a +1 counter on it. When it dies, put its counters on target creature control. I think that's not really in the theme of this deck. We're not looking at life loss. We're not looking at life gain. Finch Formation has its own offspring cost. When it enters, target creature control gains flying until end of turn. I'm really thinking about Ofsted. I'm sorry, I'm a school teacher. So Ofsted, where it's also gone 10 and I'm old. Okay, let's keep going and have some caffeine. Here we go. Right, offspring of 3. But Zinnia would give it an offspring of 2, and it enters to give something flying. Not interested in that, I'm afraid. The only flyer I'm interested in is Zinnia. Let's move on to Flowerfoot Swordmaster. It has offspring. Valiant. Whenever this creature becomes a target of a spell or ability you control, for the first time each turn, mice you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. It's mice focused. We're going to say no to that one. Frilled Spark Shooter. That art is cool. It's got menace. It's got reach. When it enters with a +1/+1 counter on it if an opponent lost life this turn. It costs 4. To offspring, that would be 6. You'd have 2 menace reachers. One's 3/3, one's 1/1. No, don't fancy that for this deck. Harnesser of Storms. Whenever you cast a non-creature or auto spell, you may exile the top card of your library. Until end of turn, you may play that card. This ability triggers only once each turn. A good otter, and then you'd be able to do that twice for offspring, and that would only cost you 5. I wonder if anyone else has discovered this Zinnia otter thing. What were they called? Harnesser of Storms. Let's drag that across. Nice. Okay. Harvest Right Host. It says, whenever it or another rabbit you control enters, target creature you control gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Then draw a card if this is the second time this ability is resolved this turn. So offspring would mean they would be the second time that ability would resolve. Although does it mean just for that particular version of Harvest Right Host, I assume that it would reread the card. Yeah, it would have to be on that one. And it's such a minimal ability. We'll say no to that. Heartfire Hero, Valiant. Whenever Heartfire Hero becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter. When it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Not worthwhile for our deck, I'm afraid. Let's move on to this Lizard Warlock Hearthborn Battler. Whenever a player casts their second spell each turn, it deals 2 damage to a target opponent. Interesting. 2 of those in play. That would be 5 mana investment. That would be 4 damage. I like it. It's a nice little bit of a deterrent. We shall pop that in. Hired Claw. Whenever you attack with one or more lizards. No, we're not doing a lizard theme. Illusionary Ambusher is not Bloomburrow art. Neither is Inferno Titan or Inspiring Overseer. Intrepid Rabbit. It has offspring already of 1. I like that because that's what rabbits do. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Not very powerful, not very impactful in a game of Commander. Jackdaw Saviour. 2 and a white. Whenever Jackdaw Saviour or another creature you control with flying dies, return another target creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. I like this for this deck because a copy of a creature, which is what Offspring is, keeps the same mana value. Just checking the wording on Zinnia to make sure that I'm not making a mistake, but if it says token copy, yeah. So that would be cool because if a creature dies, you could get that happening twice. That's what I like about Zinnia, because one of the rules with Commander is singleton. Nice. Okay. Jackdaw Saviour. I'm going to pop it in. I like that. That's cool. And it's flying, and flying wins games of Commander. Jacked Rabbit is so great. I love it so much. It's got Ravenous, which is a Tyrannid mechanic from the 40k decks. Whenever Jack Rabbit attacks, create a number of 1/1 white rabbit creature tokens equal to Jack Rabbit's power. Okay, right. I'm going to have a short break whilst I think about this. I'll be back in a moment. I have returned. Okay, so drunk too much Coca-Cola. Jack Rabbit, I think, is really cool, but the copy of Jack Rabbit would still be 1 power. And I don't think that's worthwhile. But Jack Rabbit itself is really good. Just thinking this through, just making sure I'm not making a mistake here. Oh, no, it's brilliant. What am I talking about? Zinnia loves 1/1 creatures, so Jack Rabbit makes 1/1 creatures, and the offspring would be an extra one. Oh, no, but then that would be cutting into it because of the X, so you'd actually be down a creature. Okay, no Jack Rabbit. Jolly Gerbils. Excuse me. I love Jolly Gerbils. And if we manage to do like a gift sub theme, that would be really cool. So we'll get Jolly Gerbils because it only costs 2 for a 2/3. And then we could have 2 of those, and it would draw us loads of cards if we go down the gift route. We're going to put that over here in the maybe board. Junkwinder is not the right art. We move on to Castral the Wind-Crested, which is a bird-themed commander. So we're going to say no to that. Go to Kindle Spark Duo. Deals 1 damage to target opponent when you cast a non-creature spell and tap it. Let's put this into the maybe board because of this developing theme we have around casting non-creature spells with the otters. And we'll pop that over there. I see that this maybe board's got 10 and we've got 12 in here, so it might be a straight swap. We will see. Kitsa, Otterball Elite, Vigilance, Prowess, again, draw a card and discard a card. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets. For the copy, activate only if Kitsa's power is 3 or greater. Okay, so we've got to get her power up by... It's basically saying the third spell that you cast can be copied for 2. Ooh, am I reading that right? She's a power of 1. They're a power of 1. We need to increase the power by 2, so we could do that for it by putting counters on it, or all otters get +1/+1, whatever that is. But on its own, because it's got prowess, you cast a spell and it becomes a 2/3. You cast another spell, it becomes a 3/3. And if you've got 2 left over after that, you can then tap and copy. I will drag it across and put it into our sideboard, but I don't think I enjoy this card without having synergy around it, and I think that's what... This is a legendary creature, so it's obviously a build around. I'm not sure that's going to make the cut, but we drag it across. Move on to our next 60. Have we got many? How many have we got left? So this is 61 to 120. Okay. Night Fisher. Whenever another non-token bird... Nope. We're not doing bird theme. Quain, drawing cards... And it has got Bloomburrow art, so it is potentially something we can put in. Each player may draw a card. Then each player who drew a card this way gains 1 life. I'm going to say... I am going to say... that it's a no. Okay, Kaikar thankfully has Bloomburrow art because it's part of the Imagine Critters art treatments and is excellent in this if we go down the non-creature route because it creates 1/1s and those 1/1s will then affect the wonderful Zinnia. So we're going to put this into the maybe board over here. There's so many non-creature synergies that work really well with Zinnia. And I'm excited by it. If you've been on my channel before, you know I like a theme. I like a dumb theme. And that might just be it. The theme might be this. Life Creature Duo. Whenever creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Seems good with what we're doing. We're not gaining a life, but if you have 2 of those, 2 life for every creature that comes into play, especially if there's 2 creatures and one of them's offspring, would be pretty cool. Light Shell Duo. It's a rat otter. A team up. Prowess. When it enters, surveil 2. If we were able to use offspring, we'd surveil 4 or 2 and then 2 again. I'll take it and put it into the maybe board. Long River Lurker. Ward 1. Other frogs you control have Ward 1. I like doing this because I haven't seen some of these cards. But that's frogs focused. But we will have another frog because of offspring, which would cost 5 altogether. When it enters, target creature control can't be blocked, so that would be 2 creatures. Whenever that creature deals combat damage this turn, you may exile it. If you do, return it to the battlefield. That wouldn't work for the offspring token, so I'm going to say no to that. Skip those ones. Right, Luminous Broodmoth. Popping that straight in. The effect is incredible. And looking just quickly through this, there's a lot of creatures about flying. It's got the Imagine Critters art on it, so it goes perfectly well in this theme. Mabel is mice focused. Mangara, not Bloomburrow art. Manifold Mouse has its own offspring. Beginning of combat on your turn. Target mouse you control. There's a lot of mice with this in this offspring cards. But that's a no from me. Mind Whisker, Rat Wizard. Beginning of upkeep, surveil 1. So we would surveil 1 and then 1 again. As long as there are 7 more cards in your graveyard, creature your opponents control get -1, -0. Mockingbird. It's a clone, and 2 clones is pretty great, so we pop the Mockingbird in. I seem to remember the rules around the clones is that it will come into play, target something, and then you'll create a 1/1 offspring token, which is the same target, or... Nope, that's exactly how it works. It's exactly how it works. I was thinking of something else then. I was thinking of Sakashima that can come in as itself. Okay, Mockingbird definitely going in. That's perfect. Oh no, hold on. It's got X on it. No, that's fine. No, is it fine? Okay, so X, if something's coming into play and you're paying X, which is the mana value of the thing that you want to copy, that or less, you would then have to pay 2 on top of that because you work out the costs before you cast. For the offspring, but I suppose you could be targeting something cheaper. No, I still think it's worth putting in. It's quite a flexible card to have, and you don't have to pay the extra 2. Perfect. Okay, Mockingbird goes in. Mousetrapper, it's got Valiant. It costs 3. We'd have to pay 5 if we wanted the offspring cost. And it's got Valiant. I'm going to say tap target creature opponent controls. She'd be tapping down 2 if you manage to have the offspring cost. Don't think the ability is powerful enough in a game of Commander. Nettle Guard. Nettle Guard becomes target of spell or ability you control first time each turn it gets 0+2. No. Oh, destroy target artifact or enchantment. That's the reason I'm going to put this in. 2 of those because of the offspring. That would be fantastic. Okay, that's 2 artifacts or enchantments. Night Whirl Hermit. Threshold, we don't want that. Ornithopter doesn't have Bloomburrow art. Pilated Provisioner. So it costs 5 or 7 if we want it to offspring, and it enters. We put a +1 counter on target creature and control that flying. Nope, not interested in that. Not powerful enough. Plum Creed Escort enters. Target creature control gains hexproof until end of turn. Has flash, and it costs 2. So we could pay 4, and we could protect 2 things. Let's put that into our list. Secretly, I just want to build the otters. I have said this a couple of times. I'm going to try and make that work if I can. Polywog Prodigy is amazing, and you might not know, but it's now an extremely expensive card because people are comparing it to Mystic Remora. It says, whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell with mana value less than Polywog Prodigy's power, draw a card, and it has Evolve, so it gets bigger over time. If we have 2 of those, that would be pretty amazing, and it's actually in the Zinnia Precon for that reason, so we're going to pop that in. Did I skip straight over Plumcreed Mentor? I did. Whenever Plumcreed Mentor or another creature control with flying enters, nope, we've got the commander that has flying, and it's just 1 single target creature. Nope. Prosperous Bandit, amazing. It's got Offspring 1 already, so we don't need to have Zinnia in play, and it would create 2 creatures that when they deal combat damage, we get that many tap treasure tokens. Yes, thank you, please. Sarcosis Crawler is in Peace Offering. It's non-Bloomburrow. Pious White Hawk. It's not legendary, so we can offspring it. Flying Haste. Whenever Pious White Hawk attacks, it gets +X/+0 until end of turn, where X is the greatest mana value among artifacts you control. Not artifact focus. This is from Bello. Moving on. Quake Tuskbore. Reach, Trample, Haste, 5. Do we want a Reach, Hample? Reach, Trample, and Haste 1/1? No, we do not. Pass. Raccoon Rallier. Target creature control gains haste. No, that's fine. We'll pass that. Otter Artificer Haste. Whenever another creature control with base power 1 enters, it gains haste until end of turn. Okay, this is from that precon. Whenever another creature you control enters, if it wasn't cast, put a +1. Yeah, it's from the precon. We'll put it in. Plus it's an otter, so that's pretty cool. Okay, we've got currently 20 creatures and 13 in our otter backup plan. Realmcloak Giant, not Bloomburrow art. Reptilian Recruiter. When it enters, choose target creature. If that creature's power is 2 or less, or if you control another lizard, gain control of that creature until end of turn, untap it, and it gains haste until end of turn. Oh, okay, so we cast Reptilian Recruiter for 5, or we cast it for 2, not 2, we cast it with an additional 2, and then we'll have the other lizard, which means we can take control of something, but that is very expensive for that effect, and that's why I'm saying no. Skip over those 2 non-Bloomburrow ones. I love this card. It's going in straight away. Sorry, I'll go back and talk about it. Salvation Swan has flash, costs 4, could be 6 with offspring. When it enters, or or another bird enters, which is what the offspring would be, we'd have 2. Exile up to 1 target creature you control without flying and return it with flying. Is that good? Yes, it is, because it would come back and it would trigger any of the ETBs, and ETBs work really well in Zinnia because an offspring with ETB means you're doubling up on the effects. I love Salvation Swan for this build. We'll check it afterwards to make sure there's enough ETBs. Roughshod Duo. Whenever you expend 4, target creature control gets +1/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Not that impactful. Move on to Seasoned Warren Guard. When it attacks, while you control a token, it gets +2/+0. We'll control lots of tokens, but that's a negligible amount. Sea Glaive Mentor. When it becomes target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Nope. Seed Pod Squire. Flyers. I always think flyers are the ones I want to put in these decks. Very powerful. Flying is the thing that kills people all the time. When it attacks, target creature you control without flying gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Great. Moving on. These are all cards that aren't Bloomburrow art or Bloomburrow designs. Shoreline Looter. Rat Rogue can't be blocked. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card unless you have 7 or more cards in your graveyard. I like this card. I'm going to pop this in because if we have an offspring copy, we're going to be drawing 2 cards. We're going to be seeing a lot of cards, even if we have to discard. That goes in as well. Strike Force. Cost 3, flying, double strike, vigilance. It's a 1/3, and it would create a 1/1 if we had 5 mana, and then that would be a flying, double strike, and vigilance as well. Imagine if this had prowess. It would be amazing. Nope, pass. Sky Skipper Duo. Flying. When Sky Skipper Duo enters, exile up to 1 other target creature control. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next step. If this was cheaper, I might include it just to trigger those ETBs. But no. Splash Lasher. When this creature enters, tap up to 1 target creature and put a stun counter on it. And it has offspring already. I'll put it in, but it'll be the first to go. Just because it's expensive to pay 6 in order to stun 2 creatures. Is that expensive? Just thinking of the days when I was creating that Ice Queen from Wilds of Eldraine. I want to call her, not Helga. Was it Helga? It was an Ice Queen that you got rewards for tapping things down. It's 6 a lot for tapping 2 things, I think it is. Steam Path Charger. It's a common offspring 2. When this creature dies, it deals 1 damage. Nope. Steel Bear Champion has offspring already. Non-creature spell again. And it's this time opponents casting non-creature spell, so it doesn't go with our prowess sub-theme. It's dependent on what our opponents are doing. I'm going to pass. Stormcatch Mentor. This card is ridiculous. No one is ever going to use... oh gosh, it's late. It's the goblin that does instants of sorcery spells cost 1 less to cast in the same mana value. Can't remember what it's called. Yes, that is pretty amazing. And we're going to put that into our little sub-theme. Right, I'm going to make a bold, not claim. I'm going to make a bold decision. I am kind of hooked on this idea of Zinnia and otters and prowess and non-creature spells. I am going to start moving things from the sideboard into the main part, and we're going to have a look through what we've got already and decide if we want to keep it in and if that's going to benefit that theme. So Agate Instigator, I think, is going to benefit the Offspring theme because it's got that Seismic Assault kind of attached to it. This one, which is things losing all abilities... I still think it's fine. Bellowing Crier. I like it for the little effect of drawing a card. Right, we get rid of Bramble Guard. That's out. Bravekin Duo. No, ability is too small in our new game plan, which is Otters. Question: are all pre-made commander decks geared for group play, not 1v1? Okay, that's a really good question, because I live with someone who likes playing a lot of Magic. We play a lot of 1v1 commander decks. I feel very strongly from the precons that I have reviewed and upgraded recently and playing these ones that they are better in a 4-player game. But then I think most commander decks are better in a 4-player game, whether they're precons or not. There is a format called Leviathan, and there's other formats that are 1 versus 1, which have separate ban lists, have like bans soul rings, those sorts of things. Cards like Necropotence, because they give you too much advantage over one person, but if you're playing against 3, then they can usually deal with that advantage. More specifically, these decks, right, 1v1 going up against Squirreled Away, you're going to get murdered, which has happened to me already. That is just too fast to keep up with and has too much value. I think Bellow puts up a decent fight against just one other deck, but the problem with that deck is there's no trample unless you upgrade it. So the other 3 decks, whichever one you're up against, create a huge amount of tokens. So Bellow actually really suffers 1 versus 1. Zinnia is okay, but out of the box it isn't very focused or that strong and needs a serious upgrade. In fact, when I did the live stream about Zinnia, I actually decided that it was the weakest out of the 4. So I think that doesn't work very well against one deck, because Offspring is such a huge mana investment. And the other deck, Peace Offering. Peace Offering's built for playing with 3 other people, because you're giving a counter away. No, you're giving a card away whenever you cast a spell. So the other person you're playing with is just going to get all the cards, and that means they've got more resources, which means they're going to be up against you. So my answer is 4-player is better. And with these specific precons, Squirreled Away kicks the others' butts, and the others aren't really built to defend themselves against one or to work in an efficient way. I hope that answers your question. I spend a lot of time with these precons to do these videos that I do, because I don't want to put anything out there quickly that's rubbish. Anyhow, Knights of Old, I hope that answers your question. Let me know if it doesn't, if you've got any follow-up questions. Right, let's keep going with this. Let's keep taking cards out so we can go for otters and like a spell slinger theme. This is the one that adds mana, which isn't to be sniffed at because we want to be able to cast spells. I'm going to keep it. Brightblade Stoat, out. 2 generic. Byway Barterer, expend 4. I'm going to keep it in for now. Downport Mage has got the return creature to hand. I don't think we're going to want to be able to pay 2 more to do that. We want to cast spells. Drift Gloom Coyote. No, it's just +1 counters. Hearthborn Battler. Player casts their second spell each turn. Deal 2 damage to each opponent. Oh, do I want to keep this in? I really like it. I suppose it's only 4 damage a turn if they cast second spell and they've got 40 life. Right, I'm taking you out. Sorry, dude. Life Creed Duo, creatures control, you gain 1 life. It doesn't seem as impactful now that we're going for a different theme. Another creature control with flying dies. Return another target card less mana value graveyard to the battlefield. We've got a flying commander. Just having a look at these otters. Quite a high casting cost, some of them. Oh, I don't know. Whenever Jackdaw Savior or another creature you control with flying dies. Oh, with flying with flying dies. We haven't got a huge amount of them. And if we're going otters, they aren't flyers. Okay, out you go, Jackdaw. Luminous Broodmoth stays. Mockingbird stays. Nettle Guard, out. I'm not into Valiant. I think it's a pretty weak mechanic. Really good for draft, but not for constructed. Plume Creed Escort. Comes in, flash, hexproof. I'll keep it for now. Polywog has to stay. It's too powerful. Prosperous Bandit provides us with mana to cast spells. Rapid Augmenter from the precon. Now my concern is, to trigger Prowess, we have to spend mana, and Offspring involves us spending mana as well, but at least it gives us 2 routes. And Zinnia is not always going to be in play, and that was one of the issues I had with Zinnia. You were just left with a kind of unfocused theme, or not even a theme. You were left with just a motley band of creatures, and those creatures are just doing their thing together in a team, and they really want to have lots of babies, but Zinnia's not there to help that happen. So I think what's the strength of our bringing the otters in is we've got this prowess theme that then gets enhanced by having Zinnia out. So I'm going to go with taking this out and really go in on that theme. Salvation Swan is great protection. Shoreline Looter, nope. And Splash Lasher is our stunning one. That's 12. So let's bring these across. Do we want Beza across now? I'm going to leave it in the maybe board for now. Bria, across you come. Coruscation Mage, across you come. Daring Wave Rider, across you come. Emberheart Challenger. Oh, no. Why did I choose you? Oh, because you've got Prowess. And it gives us Impulse Draw. Jolly Gerbils. Oh, because the non-creature spells, a lot of them are gifts. Ooh. Jolly Gerbils will have their time. So, Kaikar. Oh, it's all coming together, guys. It's all coming together. Non-creature spells. Non-creature spells. I'm going to say no to the Light Shell Duo. Kitzer. I have reservations about the mana requirements for this, unless I'm reading it wrong. But I'm putting it in. No. Harnesser of Storms. Yeah, Impulse Draw again. And Beza. Now, I think we've got too many creatures. We're going to keep going through the Scryfall and see what other creatures there are that go with this non-creature thing. And then we're going to thin this out and then look for the really important non-creature spells. A lot of them, hopefully, are going to be gifts that are in Jeskai colours. Because then we've got this really cool otter theme and we're giving gifts out to people, which is very Bloomburrow. Don't forget the theme of this is Bloomburrow. Oh, this is exciting. I'm really enjoying this. Oh, hello, Knights of the Old. Thank you. I've been returning to MTG since Fallen Empires and playing 1v1 with my 10-year-old daughter. I was hoping the precons were better than the starter kit as I didn't find it too fun. I had the starter kit too and I played it this week and I found it a bit more fun and it was definitely more geared to 1 versus 1. But check out 1v1 stuff that's online, because there are some specific deck lists for 1 versus 1. I prefer to do 1 versus 1 using multiples of cards and smaller decks and 20 life. But there's on the channel, there's some 1 versus 1 content where we've played 30 life with a ban list. And we had some quite fun decks there. So you might want to have a look at some of those. Yeah, but I mean, I do prefer Commander, so the starter decks themselves didn't like set my world on fire, but I quite enjoyed the change of pace. And it's so cool that you're playing that with your daughter. I recently donated some cards to a school and made sure that they were appropriate looking cards. None of the stuff from All-Be-One or New Fire X are in them. And the children, they were going crazy for them. Absolutely loved them. My plumber was in, not my plumber, the plaster was in recently. We gave him the starter kit because he's playing with his 6-year-old. And they've been doing Pokemon, but I'm always trying to convert people to the wonders that are Magic the Gathering. Right, okay. Back to Scryfall. Okay, so Storm Splitter. Haste. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, create a token that's a copy of Storm Splitter and exile that token at the beginning of your next step. We have to have this in here. We have to. It's built specifically for this, and it's nuts. So I really must have him. Sunscorched Region isn't a specific Bloomburrow card. Sunspine Links. Players can't gain life. Damage can't be prevented. When it enters, it deals damage to each player equal to the number of non-basic lands the players control. On the one hand, this is a great card. On the other hand, I don't know why we're punishing people for playing non-basic lands when we have a game that is all about being able to cast spells, and if you're playing 3 or more colours, you need non-basic lands to do that efficiently, and that's more of a fault of the game, so I don't know why we're punishing it. But imagine casting this and paying 6 and dealing all that damage. So I'm going to be a hypocrite, put this in. For now, I'm going to do a video about how I feel about punishing non-basic lands because it's been designed recently. I don't know why people are doing it. Teapot Slinger, Menace. Whenever you expend 4, Teapot Slinger deals 2 damage to each opponent. I don't like the just doing 2 damage to each opponent, and even if it was 4 damage because we offspring this, that is piddly little damage. Nope. Tempest Angler, non-creature spell, put +1 counter on Tempest Angler, and if you offspringed it, you'd have a 2/2 and a 1/1, both doing that. But again, it's not that powerful, and it's the common, so I completely understand why. Tetsuko is in the pre-con, but it's not Bloomburrow only. We are on our last group of cards here. Thieving Otter deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. That's in the starter kit as well. Thistledown players. There's a lot of commons here that aren't impactful. They're not supposed to be impactful in that way. Let's go to Thought Shucker. A rat rogue. Put a +1/+1 counter on Thought Shucker and draw a card, but only do this if you've got 7 more cards in your graveyard. Nope. 3-tree mascot. It's a changeling, so it would be considered an otter. And it ramps. I think we'll come back to it if we need ramp, but I don't think we're going to because I think there's quite a few. Oh, we are in... Just realised we don't have green, do we? Oh dear. Yeah, Knights of the Old. I definitely think that customizing the commander decks into 1v1 is a really good idea. Oh, I like that. Is that something I should be doing content-wise? That's a really good idea. Yeah, I like that idea. I've got a ton of that product as well, and you definitely could put something together, and it'd be such a lovely thing to do together. And if you sort of base that round a... I mean, these otters are great for that. I mean, they are part of the starter kits, but you could make something much more interesting. Let me know what you do. That sounds really cool. I love that idea, and you could do it together. It's really cute. Thunder Trap Trainer. It's a rare. It costs 2. It has Offspring 4, but Zinnia would give it Offspring 2. So when this creature enters, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them and put it into your hand. We love this. We're going to put it in. Anything that helps us see more cards. Excellent. 20-toed toad. One of my favourite designs from this set. This is in Peace Offering. Maximum hand size is 20. Whenever you attack with 2 or more creatures, put a +1/+1 counter and draw a card. Whenever it attacks, you win the game if there are 20 or more counters on it, or you have 20 or more cards in hand. Just because I like the design, I don't think it's going to survive. I don't think it's going to make it through, but there's something about the fact that you're creating 2 creatures with offspring. So you're going to have 2 creatures to attack with. Yeah, we'll see. Valley Flamecaller. If a lizard, mouse, otter, or raccoon you control would deal damage to a permanent, it deals that much damage +1. As I think we're going otters, this makes perfect sense to put into the deck. Valley Floodcaller, non-creature spells that had flash. You had me at flash. There we go. It's an otter. Valley Quest Caller. Whenever 1 or more other rabbits, bats, birds, or mice. Nope, not referencing the things that we want to hear. We're nearly there. Warren Warleader. Offspring 2. Whenever you attack, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking. Attacking creature control get +1/+1 until end of turn, but if we pay the offspring, they'll get +2/+2. Pretty good. Put it in. Once we work out our game plan, if it's less aggro and more spell slinger, then we might take that out. Water Spout Warden. No. And no to Waxwayne Witness. I'm just passing over some of these commons because, as we know, commons aren't supposed to have a huge impact, and I'm looking at them and I'm not seeing anything that's going to... Oh, hold up a second. I know it's got Valiant. Oh, but spells is what we're doing. Right, I'll drag this mouse citizen in there. It's got a bit of a draw and discard effect on it. That might be good. Right, those are all the creatures. So if we go back and have a look in here, and we have got too many creatures for 32. Let's have a look at some instants. Because when you're playing prowess, we want to be able to cast things, and therefore they become combat tricks, because you don't see instants coming, and they pump the team, which leads to big blowouts for opponents. So we're going to go with instants in white, blue, and red, and make sure they're in the set. You never know what's going to synergize with the creatures we have chosen already, so we don't want to get rid of them yet. What did I do? Did I put it on colour or did I put it on commander? What have I done? Instance, type, white, blue, red, Bloomburrow. Bear with me for a second. I'm not sure why this is not showing these things to me. I must have put something in somewhere else. Let's have a look. Card name, text, type line is an instant. The commander is white, blue, and red. And is in the sets Bloomburrow and Bloomburrow Commander. How strange. That is very weird. I don't know why it's not specifically letting me search for that. Let me... Instant. Search. I think I typed instance, didn't I? That's probably what it is. Right, we've got 39 cards to choose from. Okay. So, this is going to be tricky for us because we don't want to use any cards that don't have Bloomburrow art on or are Bloomburrow designs. But looking at cards I want to include already, I'm noticing that they do not have the artwork on. Well, thankfully Chaos Warp does. Look at this art. This is so sad. This poor raccoon is being transported to Kamigawa here, and it's going to get lost. And it's called Flea. It's really sad. Let's put it in. We love a Chaos Warp. What else have we got? Conduct electricity. Deals 6 damage to target creature and 2 damage to up to 1 target creature token. That is a very expensive card. And it's a common, it's supposed to be. We've got our first gift here. Deals 2 damage to target creature. If a gift was promised, it deals 3 damage to that opponent's controller as well. Let's put that in. Crumb and Get It. Gift of food. Target creature gets +2/+2. If the gift was promised, it gets indestructible. Love. Dawn's Truce. Gift a card. You and opponents you control gain hexproof until end of turn, and it only costs 2. We love this. We put this in as well. Uh-oh. The save timeout reached error on Architect is very scary. Hopefully we'll be able to save this deck. Okay, Dazzling Denial, a counter spell unless its controller pays 2. And if you control a bird, counter that spell unless its controller pays 4. We like this because our commander is a bird. Dire Downdraft. This spell costs 1 less to cast if it targets an attacking or tapped creature. Put it on the top or bottom of opponent's library. We'll pop this in. Nice bit of removal. Flame Lash. It doesn't have the art that we're after. What else do we have? Yay! Generous gift with the new art is brilliant. Let's have that. Lovely bit of removal. Just realised when I built the Fallout deck and did the Fallout stream where I built just Liberty Prime, it was Jeskai as well. I've got a bit of a Jeskai thing going on at the moment. Into the Floodmoor. Gift a tap fish. Return the creature controller. Return target creature an opponent controls its owner's hand. If the gift was promised, it said return target non-land permanent. Love this as well. It does seem that a lot of our instances and sources are very removal based, which works pretty good when we're looking like we're swinging otters at people, so that's pretty good. Long River's Pull, I like this. This is a counter spell in the Peace Offering Commander deck. We'll have that as well. playing control here. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Up to one other target creature gets +1/+1. Works beautifully with prowess because it's already boosting our creatures. We love this as well. Might of the Meek. Target creature gains trample until end of turn. It also gets +1/0 until end of turn if you control a mouse. Draw a card. We're going to pass on that one. Parting Gust is the exile target non-token creature. The gift is promised. You get to return it to the battlefield so it can become a bounce spell. So it's really good card. Really flexible. And if we've got any ETBs, that'll be fantastic for us. But again, it's another removal spell. Perch Protection. Okay, this is really expensive, but it is game altering. It costs 6. You don't have to wait to pay for it on another opponent's turn, but you do create 4 2/2 blue bird creature tokens with flying, and then you just nope out and leave everybody to get on with the game. So it really is a sort of temporary play of let's play it at the right time so that we can leave everybody to beat each other up, and hopefully the opponent I gave the extra turn to can utilise that, but not to be too powerful when we come back again. This reminds me of that extra turn spell that was big in Standard where you created 2 birds. It was in the Viking set. And can you remember what the name of the set is? But we're putting this in. There we go. Lovely. What else do we have options of? Rabbit Response. Creature control get +2/+1 until end of turn. So again, a little bit of a blowout with our prowess. This set has been very good to us today. Uh-oh. Right, let's give that a moment to catch up whilst I have a sip, because I've been talking for an hour or so. Oh, thank you, Cowtime. I appreciate that. I think it's like Alrun's temporal. I've got Scryfall I could check, but I don't like to. I try to remember. I can't remember what it is, but it creates birds and then you get an extra turn. It's ridiculous. Okay. Bit worrying that this is not working, but there we go. Yes, you are so right. I don't know how to pronounce your name. I want to say it's Casal or Xal. You're absolutely right. These arts are stunning, and that's the whole theme of today's deck. It's all Bloomburrow art, and it's all Bloomburrow designs, or reprints with Bloomburrow art. So, yeah, just really want to honour this set because it's the best set since Neon Kamigawa, although the Fallout precons are the best kind of supplementary product. Like, they blow me away. Wait till we get to Final Fantasy, though. I think that'll be the first time I ever buy a collector's booster box, because that's just amazing. I'm going to attempt to, actually, before we go out, let's see if I can. Oh, no, this is so worrying. Right, did we retain everything? Oh, are you logging me out? No, it's not. Okay, we're fine. That's, phew. Right, Perch Protection's in there. Thank you. Sorry if I got butchered your name there. I do apologise. Oh, Knights of the Old. If I find an older Commander precon deck I want to play with, is it cheaper to buy it new or try to just buy all the cards separately? Are the prices high because they are sealed? Some of the Commander decks go really high in price, like the Simic one that is headed up by, I wish it wasn't so late. My brain is not working. The Guy Straight Serpent. We've got a guy in the chat, he'll know. That one went astronomically expensive, but some get cheaper because they're not well loved. So you're going to have a look into the different precons and see which ones have gone up or down in price. But it might be better just to grab some of the Bloomburrow stuff and throw something together that's budget and cute. I mean, that sounds like what your daughter's after. Otters looking good. Bunnies would be a really good theme because, you know, it's quite a simple theme to understand as well. But yeah, it's very exciting that you're doing that. That's really cool. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know how they're going to cram it all into an FF set, but if Auron doesn't get a card, then I'm going to be so unhappy. And obviously Sephiroth is going to have some incredible, probably Grixis. Is he Grixis? I don't think he's Grixis. He's probably more, I think I'd throw some white in there, and I don't know why, because he's kind of has this very strict kind of judge-like quality. I don't know. We'll see. What colour do you think Sephiroth would be? It'd be 3 colours, I think. Definitely. Back to this. Where were we? Rapid hybridization. Excellent. And it's got Bloomburrow art. So we've got so much removal. We're solid on that. Repel Calamity. Yeah, let's put that in there as well. We might have too much removal, but we'll sort it into... so whenever I build a deck, I make sure I sort it all into different categories. So we're not too top heavy on one of them. What else do we have? Run away together. I'm going to say no to that because I think the removal is pretty solid in what we have so far. Keep going. I like this one giving something hexproof. Nice to have a bit of protection, especially for Zinnia. And then we've got an excellent art on Swords to Plowshares, a card that I don't actually rate very highly because it's 1-for-1 removal, but I prefer things that remove the ability to attack, like Windborn Muse, those sorts of things, but we don't have access to those in this deck. Although there's some in the peace offering, but they don't have the art, which is Bloomburrow. Take out the trash, 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If you control a raccoon, discard a card. Nope. And another gift card. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn. If the gift was promised, it gets first strike. No. Oh, creatures you control get +2, not just creature. Yep, okay. Let's have that. You're rooting with Balthier. Good choice. And I can't remember the name of the character. It's the lady who has all the belts as her outfit. She's amazing. So many amazing cards. I hope that, they'll pull it off, I'm sure. I'm very confident that Wizards will do a good job. I cannot wait. Okay, so we've looked at the instance. We're going to look at some sorceries. Actually, before we do that, I'm a bit worried we haven't got enough draw. So I'm going to go back to advanced. And in the text, I'm going to put draw. The colours of our commander. Back to the sets. Bloomburrow and Bloomburrow commander. And I'm going to check what can draw us cards. Because we are good for removal, but I don't know if we're good for draw at this point. And that scares me a little bit. Artist talent. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Obviously, this is made to go with the otters. We'll have that. What else does it do? Non-creature spells cost 1 less. Brilliant. If a source you control will deal non-combat damage to an opponent, or it deals too much... brilliant. Right, that's perfect. Such a shame Biden doesn't have its own art for Bloomburrow, but we can't put it in. 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. We're doing Offspring. That's brilliant. It's like they thought about this when they were designing the set. Cut a deal. Each opponent draws a card. Then you draw a card for each opponent. Draw a card this way. Is this Bloomburrow art? Yes, there's a carrot in it. Brilliant. More draw. This is a good opportunity to go into new category and do draw and velocity. Things that move us forward. Velocity. Oh, that's already in there. Caretaker's talent, artist's talent. We want to get up to... We want a lot of draw because it's casting a lot of spells, so we want our hand to be full. That's why I'm just a bit concerned that we're not going to have enough draw. This gives something flight. And it's a lizard that's flying. Yep, that'll do. Pop it in there. It's not the most powerful card in the world, but we're drawing from a small pool. Oh, I like Fountain Port, and we are creating tokens, so we can sacrifice one of the children to draw a card. That seems wrong somehow, but we're going to do it. The host is a no. Heirloom Epic. Draw a card for each mana in this ability's activation cost. You may tap an untapped creature you control rather than pay that mana. That makes perfect sense to me if we're going to have lots of creatures. Perfect. That can go into the draw as well. Hoofprints of the Stag. I don't know if this is Bloomburrow art, but I know it's in the Peace Offering deck. Oh, it's whenever you draw a card. No, we don't want that. Keep going. So Jolly Gerbils, we'll see. Ah, Jace. It'll make the deck expensive, but hey. Card draw. He's a fox. Let's do it. That's cool. £32. We can find budget alternatives for that, but let's pop that in. Do we want to put Quain in now? Right, I'm going to take Quain. Okay, I did that wrong. We're going to take Quain. No, that's me. Oh, I've lost the deck now. That's great. No, the deck's there. What did I lose? Oh, no, we've got it. We're going to put Quain into the sideboard in case we can't find enough draw. Where you gone, Quain? There we go. Yeah, into the maybe board. And if we don't have enough draw, Quain can be part of the deck. Might of the Meek, Mind Spiral, Gift Tapfish, target player draws 3 cards. That could be us if the gift was promised. Tap target creature an opponent controls, put a stun counter on it. It's a bit expensive, but let's go for it. That would be the first one to come out if we can't find some other things. Narset. Oh, that's a naughty card. Let's do it. I mean, we do need to have some powerful cards in here as well. We are building something that's quite a bit flimsy when you think about the fact we've got to cast loads of spells. We've got to have loads of cards in our hand. We're trying to kill people with otters, mainly. Let's have a bit of Narset in here. Plus, that art is stunning. Pearl of Wisdom. This spell costs 1 less to cast if you control an otter. Perfect. Perfect. Where are you, Pearl of Wisdom? I am concerned about mana, how we're going to deal with ramp and mana in Jeskai colours. We will throw ourselves off that bridge when we come to it. Okay, the Polywog Prodigy we've already got in here. We're going to drag that across so that it goes into here. Lovely. I'm going to start sorting some of these. Luminous Broodmoth goes into the USB not recognised. It happens sometimes with this microphone. Just a thumbs up or something would be good. And whilst I'm just talking away so you can let me know, I just need to make an alteration to the stream because we're getting a lot of ads coming up. Right, I've turned the ads off because we don't want to keep being interrupted by those. It's not about the money. Can you hear me? I can check on my phone as well. Let's have a look. Oh. Yeah, you can hear me. That's fine. Lovely. Right. Okay, good. Okay, so we are looking at moving across things that are drawing us cards. So I've moved the Polywog Prodigy over, and at this point, with 10 cards, Mind Spiral comes out because it is too expensive. Excellent. Cool. Okay, we were looking at draw. Oh, Rao creates us otters and also draws us cards, I believe. Where you gone, Rao? Yeah, Rao. Draw 3 cards, discard 2 cards. Awesome. Right, let's pop that in as well. Draw and velocity. We are doing well on the draw, as you would expect in these colours. Thankfully, we've got blue and we've got red. Season of Weaving. So good. 1 paw, draw a card. 2 paws, you can create a token copy of an artifact creature you control. And 3 is return each non-land, non-token permanent. We have to have it. We have to have it. It's so powerful. It's the best removal and copying and draw. And then also Season of the Burrow is incredible because we get to create a 1/1, and that will affect Zinnia's power. We can exile a non-land permanent. We have got so many cards we can use for removal and draw. We are doing really well. I'm really happy with those. In fact, with a card that has multiple options, I always have a look at where we're lacking and I put that into that category. So I'm going to do Season of Weaving. Draw's looking good. I'm going to start a removal category because that removal on that card is nuts. and then start moving some stuff across to removal, and then maybe thin that out as well, because there's a lot of stuff here and some of it's quite flimsy. So this is a combat trick. Swords to plowshares. Ugh. Oh, shore up is protection. So if you've ever seen any of my videos before, this is my process for building them. I like to throw a load of cards together and then start sifting through them afterwards. It's a bit like when you're writing and then you do a draft. You do a draft first and then you edit it afterwards. This is my process. This is removal. I'm sure it's everyone's process, but I don't know. I think a lot of people rush to get deck lists online, which is absolutely fun because I provide deck lists, so go for it. Not everyone has as much time as I do to do this. Okay. Repel Calamity is more removal. I think once we get to, say, 3 wipes and maybe 7 bits of focused removal, like 1-for-1 removal, which I'm not really into, but you know, we have to go with what we've got. We can probably then get rid of some of the excess. Okay, Valley Rally is, I'm going to put this into our, I'm going to call it aggro. What's Artist Talent do again? So it's, oh, that should be in card draw. Oh, it is in card draw. Long River's Pull is a counter spell, so we're going to put that in removal because it removes the spell. And I quite like a counter spell that maybe affects something that's trying to deal with the board, and then that makes sense that it's a 1 for a mass. That doesn't make sense because I'm tired. Let me say that again. I like a counter spell, especially if the spell it's countering is targeting more than one permanent, and then that feels like a good card advantage. This is good as well for removal. Right, Mabel's Metal can come out. What have we got? We've got Send Everything Back. Do we have anything else that's sort of a mass removal? Not yet. That's protection. That's nice. 4 pieces of protection. That's cool. Blooming Blast is quite weak. And now that I'm getting rid of a lot of these gift-giving spells, that's a few we've got rid of. We're going to get rid of the gerbils. Sorry, gerbils, you don't make it again. I hope we go back to Bloomburrow and get loads of more gift cards so the gerbils can have their day. I want 1 more card out of these 3. Dazzling Denial is another counter spell, and we have a bird. We'll put that in there. Let's get rid of this and this. Awesome. Right, got 10 removal. We've got 10 draw and velocity. Beza does lots for us. Oh, Bellowing Crier is draw. Brazen Collector. Right, so Brazen Collector is a ramping spell in red. Mana and ramp, not the same thing. Let's put that into a category. This is going to be our weakest category, I think. We'll see what else we can choose. Hopefully some of the mana rocks have been given the Bloomburrow treatment. We will see. Yeah, Rowley is eating well these days. Today and this day and this set. It's going very well for him. How many cards have we got altogether at the moment? 56. Okay. I want to have a look at the artifacts and see what we've got in terms of mana rocks and see if they've got the Bloomburrow art, and fingers crossed that they took the time to do that. Otherwise, we're going to be behind a lot. All that said, though, you don't need to always be ramping ahead if you've got good control, because you can wait for people to grow their boards and then you can disrupt them and get ahead that way. So it's not that problematic. Artifact. White, blue, red. Bloomburrow. Fingers crossed. The Arcane Signet is in Bloomburrow art. Oh my word. Hooray. Hello. Ah, that's wonderful. Really pleased about that. Where are you? Mana ramp. Perfection. Excellent. What else have we got? Oh, no. Oh, dear. I think the Soul Ring is... I'm surprised the Master Nexus didn't get an update. Here's a tree after all. Patchwork banner. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. We can do that with the otters. Adds 1 mana of any colour. Perfect. I think we're really going to have to focus down on the otters to make this work. So we've got 3 pieces of ramp now, one of them being very weak. The Rolling Hamsphere is an amazing card. I absolutely love this card. It's so cool. It's like the Critter's Ball. It gets +1/+1 for each hamster you control. And then when you attack, you make 3 hamsters, which is great in Zinnia, but this we can't put this in the deck. It's going to take up space that we need. We might come back to it, though. Let's put it into the maybe board. Because Commander is also fun, casual format. It doesn't have to be optimised all to hell. We will see. Soul Ring is in Bloomburrow art. Doesn't help cast our Commander, but it does help cast all those non-creature spells. The Sword gives something flying. Sword of the Squeak is for hamsters, mice, rats, and squirrels. Right, the mascot's going to have to go in. Hold on, what does it say? Yeah, I agree with that. What power level are precons considered? Well, these particular precons, if I was going to give them a power level, I find that very difficult to do. I can tell you the order of their power. Actually, to be honest, it's squirrels at the top. Right, okay, so I would say if 10 is CEDH and if 7 is if 6 is a 75%er, which means the deck is 75% efficiently constructed with that 25% like room to play casually. The squirrels are an 8. And funnily enough, if you swap out Hazel for Chatterfang, it's probably then a 9. No, probably not a 9. Maybe it's a 7 with an 8 if it's Chatterfang. No, it's an 8. I've played against it, and I'm doing a pre-con upgrade and review of it at the moment, and it's ridiculous. But with Chatterfang, it just takes it over the top a bit more. So that's the most powerful one, 7 or 8. It's ridiculous. And then Zinnia, it's not great. I have a Zinnia deck now because I rebuilt the entire thing, and it's better, but I think it's more of a 6. I would say Peace Offering is a 6. I would say that Bellow is a 6. They all need a little bit of extra to really push them over the line, as it were, make them competitive, which is the whole fun of precons. I mean, the 4 against each other, the squirrel one, it just demolishes. It really does. It's crazy, absolutely crazy. Okay, I hope that answers your question. Oh, what power level are precons considered overall? It really, really varies. I mean, I've also got the precon from... I got 2 of the precons from Modern Horizons 3. The energy precon is an 8. It's ridiculous. Out of the box, unupgraded. Unupgraded? Not upgraded. It's insane. It is so powerful. It can hang with really powerful decks. The Oma one, or Omo, the one that gives everything counters, was like a 6. It was really not that powerful at all. In fact, I've taken the whole mana base out of that and put it into a mono black deck. Because that's quite a fun way to use that, because it works really well with mono colours. So the mana base is great, but the deck itself, not so much. I hope that answers your question. I'm rambling because it's 11:15. Okay, Patchwork Banner is in there. Let's have a look at what else have we got. Tangle Tumbler. No, that doesn't help us. And the Wishing Well. So the Wishing Well is a bit like As Foretold, isn't it? When you do, you may cast target instant or sorcery card with mana value equal to the number of coin counters on Wishing Well from your graveyard but paying its mana cost. If that spell we put into, we're going to put that in because that's what we're doing. Sorcery is an instance. And it's an odd kind of mana dodge because you've already cast a spell, but then we could cast it again depending on the coins that are on it, and that allows us to trigger our prowess. So in a sense, it does have its place within the mana and ramp. And I've just remembered we've got cards that reduce the cost of spells as well. Silly me. That's how Jeskai decks managed to get round not having green in them. So where are those enchantments? Are they enchantments? Let's find them. Which one was it? Something that reduced the cost of things. Oh, of course, we have got one of the otters that reduces the cost. Where are you? Oh, Prosperous Bandit makes us treasure tokens. Right, we're all good. Panic over. Panic over. There he is, Stormcatch Mentor. Right, we've now got 8 things that are either reducing mana or giving us mana or filtering or, paying for things. Or oh dear, what am I trying to say? Casting things without paying the mana cost. We've also got the Kaikar, which lets us add red when we sacrifice spirits, and those spirits are created when we cast non-creature spells, which is the feedback loop we need for these lovely otters. Okay, we're doing really well here. This deck's cool. I'm really excited about it. We're on 61 cards as well. That's pretty cool. So we've got loads of draw and velocity, 11, mana and ramp, 9, removal, 10. That is pretty cool. We've got protection of 4. Yeah, we've got all the food groups we need for a successful commander deck, which is really cool. What power would the upgraded version of the Bellow deck you posted be? That is a really good question, and I would love to have a little tangent to that. Let me see if we can do that. Okay, Be Bunny Do Crimes is a deck I've made using the crime mechanic and Miss Bumbleflower and cards from New Capenna because I think that's funny. I think bunnies with guns are funny. Those are my upgrades. Animated army upgrade. Let's take a quick look. Okay, so power level. Again, power level is very subjective. It really depends on the pod you're up against. But if we're going to go for just, forgetting subjectivity exists, we have got high mana value stuff, but we can cast it quite easily because of the vast amount of ways to ramp mana and cheat. The stuff that I put in it creates a load of tokens. It's a solid 7, I would say. For me, it's a solid 7. It can hang casually, but if you get a good start, it would be a complete smash. It could take someone out really quickly. I think it's a 7. How would you make it even more powerful? It's an interesting question that I've asked myself and no one else asked. I'll say it's a 7. It's good. It's good. I've only made Goldfish it because I haven't made it yet, although I do want to make it because we've got all the precons and Bellow's kind of not really been touched. And I think there's some really amazing stuff here that can do a huge amount of damage. It's just adding in all that evasion. I would say to you that because it was a precon upgrade, I wasn't able to upgrade it or at least remove as many cards as I probably would. I removed 14, but I think you could remove 6 more and make this even more powerful. But as it was an upgrade, I couldn't completely disassemble the deck. You could make a Bellow deck from scratch that would be an absolute monster, I am sure. Chuck a bit of fast mana in there. That would be pretty amazing. I hope that kind of answers your question. It's a 7. I don't think anyone's going to go, oh my word, you've brought a Bellow with you, an upgraded Bellow. What are we going to do? But I think they'll be surprised how quickly they die. So good luck with that if you decide to go ahead. And let me know how it goes. I'm actually playing this upgraded version in well, I'm not playing it, but one of the members of our team for the MTG Spectacular games that we play. There's about 5 or 6 of them on the channel at the moment. We do some gameplay stuff. We're actually meeting up hopefully next weekend so that Bloomburrow is still relevant to play all the upgraded decks that I created. I'll be playing the Peace Offering one. And I think my friend Misa might be playing this. So if you want to join up, that'll be filmed next week. And then I'll be editing it the following couple of days. So there'll be an example for you to watch. Right, back to the Bloomburrow only. Right, where are we? Kind of let down by Bello. Was hoping they'd go something to bring junk tokens to the main set. Yes, 100% agree with you. 100%. It said, make trash, do smash on the precon. And that is not what was presented by the cards in that deck. I wanted junk tokens back, and I thought it was a really good opportunity to do that, because then we'd have some upgrades for, I'm gesturing towards Fallout stuff off to the side. It would be amazing to have more junk tokens. It would have been a perfect upgrade situation. I would have absolutely loved that, but what a shame that they didn't. I am going to... You're live on stream, Ben. How wonderful. I am just going to... I'll be back in 1 second. I'm just going to pop to the loo. Hopefully you'll be here soon, or here still when I get back for us to finish this deck. So bear with me. Don't go anywhere. I have returned. Thank you for waiting. Yeah, I completely agree with you. I was so sad when I didn't see junk tokens. It was the first thing I thought of. I was like, junk tokens, hooray, because I loved them. Not as much as I loved rad tokens, which I don't know how they'd ever bring that back. But, I mean, the Wise Mothman is amazing. Austin, yes, flubs, incredible. Considered building flubs tonight, but I just don't think there's enough cards that are Bloomburrow only for a flubs build. And does anyone else think of No Scrubs? The song by TLC, When They Hear Flubs, because I've been singing I Don't Want No Flubs for the past month, but that was just me apparently. Okay, where are we with this? So we've got really good draw and velocity, we've got decent mana and ramp, and we've got removal. We have got a ton of creatures in here, 24. We still have space for 2 cards. Now, my suggestion for those 2 cards are the 2 in the maybe board, potentially. I really want to put in the Rolling Hamsphere, because we are trying to build a deck that works, but Rolling Hamsphere is amazing. It's the meme of the Bloomburrow decks. If you weren't here when I explained it before, it basically is a mass of hamsters that get +1/+1. Sorry, I'll start this again. Rolling Hamster gets +1/+1 for each hamster you control, and when it attacks, it creates 3 of them, and they're 1/1s, which synergizes with Zinnia. So she gets +3 power for those being out. And it happens every time it attacks. And it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of hamsters you control. So it's got this exponential rolling kind of theme, which I think is funny, but also works really well. It is 7, but it gives us a top end. So I think that might be something we could put in, but I have a feeling we just need to... Do we need to look at sorceries? No, do you know what? Let's put it in, because it's fun, and it defies category, but I suppose the category would have to be in removal, because it creates it deals 3 damage. And also, it pumps up our commander, and there's nothing better than a Voltron player removal. So that's pretty cool. Quain, I actually don't know if we need to put in here. I don't want to give too many resources away to our opponents. So I'm going to do 1 enchantment check before we think about maybe playtesting the deck quickly. Type. Unless you have any burning ideas or requests and you're thinking, oh, that would be a really good card in this weird, is it spell slinger inside a Jeskai shell with 1/1s? That would be cool. I'm just excited that we can make all our otters produce offspring and then they have prowess. That would be pretty cool too. Quain does bring only misery. I agree with you. I don't know if we want to give everyone cards. It works really well in a certain place. Hello, Mr. Pearson. Very nice to see you here. Thank you for joining us as well. Nice to see you. We are looking at enchantments that are white and blue and red, and they are in the Bloomburrow set. What do you think of the set, guys? Is this a set that has worked for you? I know some people are not into the cutesy cuddly things in the world, but I think it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. From a design point of view, from a world building point of view, it's a home run for me. It's a complete smash. I don't think I know what I'm doing. Hold on. Right, there we go. We've got all the options. Let's look at some enchantments before we finish. When Alchemist Talent enters, create 2 tapped treasure tokens. Treasures you control have tap, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana. We're not treasure focused, so I'm not going to use that. That's already in Artist's Talent. This is a enchantment that exiles something, but we've got loads of removal. Attacking creatures have double strike. Doesn't have Bloomburrow art, so we're not going to use that. Blacksmith's Talent, when it enters, create a colourless equipment artifact token named Sword. With equipped creature gets +1/+1 and equip 2. You enjoyed drafting it today. That's cool. What did you end up drafting? I'd be interested to hear that. So that's equipment, attaching equipment. So equipment theme, no. Builder's Talent, that's the one that creates the walls, isn't it? Yeah, that's not going to work for us. We've already got Caretaker's Talent in there. We've got... Oh, Echoing Assault is from the precon, and it is all to do with creature tokens. It gives them Menace, which we want. Whenever you attack a player, choose target non-token creature that's attacking that player, create a token that's a copy of it, except it's a 1/1. It's perfect. Obviously, it was in the precon. So that can go in. And Quain, I'm ever so sorry, but you are out. This can go in the aggro section, if I can find it. Where have you gone? There it is. That can go into aggro. Awesome. Okay. It's looking good. Festival of Embers. During your turn, you may cast instant sorcery spells from your graveyard by paying 1 life in addition to their other costs. If a card or token be put into your grave from anywhere, exile instead. 1 and red, sacrifice Festival of Embers. I did not know this card existed, but I think this is very cool for this deck, obviously. It's a little flashback machine. Paying 1 life in Commander. Okay. I am going to put this in. We do not have any recursion in the deck. So I'm going to put a recur here. And now we're over. I'll add in a Jeskai mana base in a second. I won't actually. I'll have to if I'm going to test it for you. Raccoon Kindred pulled Moira and built around her. Never saw her the whole day, and isn't that the thing with these decks? You put cards in and you never see them. Where are we? Okay, so we've put in that. Fortune Teller, top a card, cast spells from the top of library. Spells you cast from anywhere other than your hand cost 2 less to cast. I think it takes a long time to get going, and we need it to be quicker in our deck, so I'm going to say no to that. Gossip's Talent. When a creature you control enters, surveil 1, so we'd get surveil 2 because of the offspring. Whenever you attack, target creature, power 3 or less can't be blocked this turn. We haven't got many combat damage triggers, so I'm going to say no to that one. Hoarder's Overflow enters, and whenever you expend 4, put a stash counter on it. It's about drawing cards. We're good for that. Kidnap is a fantastic card. It's got gift. And we're able to tap something or steal it, which is removal in a sense. We're not going into gift too heavily. I'm going to say no to that one. Martial Impetus has its own Bloomburrow art. Gets +1/+1 is goaded. Whenever the enchanted creature attacks, each other creature attacking one of your opponents gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Nope. Nope. Murmuration, which is in the precon for Zinnia, is really great. And it's got a storm kind of thing going on. So birds you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance, which would give Zinnia vigilance. At the beginning of your end step, for each spell you've cast this turn, create a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow. We want to cast loads of spells. That will create 1/2 creatures, and that will pump up Zinnia. So we're going to put this in to the aggro section. Why would you go into aggro, Lee? I don't really know where that goes. No, it is aggro because it's +1/+1 for the birds. Right, okay, cool. Outpost Siege hasn't got Bloomburrow art. Neither is Reign of Riches, neither is Spirited Companion. When Storm Chaser's talent enters, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. When this class becomes level 2, return instant sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. Whenever you cast instant sorcery, create a 1/1 blue and red otter creature token with prowess. Well, that's a no-brainer for this deck. That has to go in. We've got a little bit of cutting to do in a moment. Not much more to look at here. Wizard's class, no maximum hand size. Class becomes level 2, draw 2 cards. When you draw a card, put +1 counter on target creature control. No thank you. Warm Store Surge is cool because all our creatures entering, if they're... Actually, no, I was thinking with the Offspring. Although we do have a card that says when a creature comes into play, it deals 1 damage. This deals damage equal to the power. It's a different way of winning. Costs 6 though. I'm just thinking beyond 6 mana. Warstorm Surge, thoughts? Pearson, off topic, but that setup in real life is looking good so far. The setup, that you mean this setup? If that's the case, well done. I'd prefer not having my clothes in the background, but I don't have a studio yet. Okay, I'm going to say no to Warstorm Surge. I think it costs a lot for this deck. If we were built like in Bellow, amazing. Yeah, thank you. See, great minds think alike. It is a kind of a letdown. I completely agree with you, and that's why we're not going to put it in. Good. Yeah, great minds think alike. Okay, I think we are there. So we have got 66 cards. We're going to want 37 lands, which means we have to cut 3 cards, and I think that's going to come from the creatures. So let's review the creatures. As we go through them, we can move them into other categories if they fit into the other categories, and then we will see which ones are left over. We are prioritising otters. So a Gate Instigator. This one is the creatures enter, they deal 1 damage to each opponent. I don't want to put this in anymore, because if we're going to not have Warstorm Surge in, this would be, it deals 1 or 2 damage, and we're not doing anything that's going to suddenly bring in a ton of creatures. Maybe Murmuration, but it seems a bit out of place here, and it's in the precon, but I took it out because of this, like, it's the piddliest little damage. I don't think it works. I'm going to take this out. Goodbye. I'm going to just move this into Recur because it brings things back, which is great to have. We need loads of spells. Okay. The Pathmaker is expensive and it gives us a little impulse. It is an otter, but I think it'll be the first to go if we can't find others to go. So we need to do 2 more. We're going to keep in Alania. That makes sense in this, doesn't it? Yeah. Azure, Beastbinder. That can't be blocked. Kind of like it as a bit of removal. So I'm going to put it into removal because that's what it does. Removal. What does this one do? Whenever it becomes target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, you may discard a card, and if you do, draw a card. I really like that. I think that's fine. I know it's only a common, but it's still, you know, actually, are we targeting things with... we don't have enough things that are really targeting creatures. If you have a look at the spells we've got... Well, let's have a look. Feather of Flight targets a creature. Nope, the spells we're casting aren't targeting our creatures. So, boom, gone. And then one more. What do we think about this card? I think it's mean as, but it is a way of winning. And for 6 mana, dealing basically would be twice the number of non-basics they have. Might be something we need to keep in our deck. But it's a horrible card. Let me know what you think. Splash Lasher. When this creature enters, you tap something, removal. I like that a lot of the creatures that we are relying on to win the game for us are also doing something else. They, double duty. They're tapping something down. Salvation Swan is protection. Put it across. This gives hexproof. Put it across. Draw a card, discard a card. I'm going to put this in draw and velocity because it's impulse draw. We don't need this because we're not targeting our stuff. That's it. That is it. 63. Awesome. Okay, so now we just need a mana base. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Animated Army and use that to spring across to my Zinnia deck. Oh, I didn't actually put the Zinnia deck online yet, but we'll use the mana base from the pre-con for now. Where is it? Here it is. Select all and add to another deck. And that deck is going to be Bloomburrow only MTG Specs Livestream. Add those cards, go back to it, and just double check this is the right one. Got a fountain port in there already. And that should be in there. Right, we've got 100 cards. Perfect. Oh, why have we got 100 cards if we had the other spell in there? That's strange. There must have been 36. This is the deck. Throwing children at your enemies sets the bar low for mean, so Sunspine's probably all right. Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah, no, I think Sunspine's good. I mean, it is a key card in the set, one that everyone's talking about. This is a Bloomburrow only deck, so why not? We are done, which is pretty cool. I wasn't expecting to have this Otter theme, this sub-theme at all. I thought it was going to be more of an ETB's theme, but it makes perfect sense that if we can double the amount of otters we've got, we can double the impact of prowess, which is really cool. I'm going to do one quick category change to type to make sure we have got enough spells. We've got 12 instants. And we have got 4 sorceries. But that is non-creature spells, it's not just instants and sorceries. On top of that, we've got 7, so that's 19. And then we've got those ones there, add them on, that's 25. And then if we add on these, that's 29. Okay, I think that's fine. And of course, because we're Bloomburrow only, the instance that we have access to, instance being really important when it comes to playing a prowess spell slinger type build. It's not as many as maybe we would like, but for a casual 75% kind of deck, this is pretty cool. I am also happy that it represents a lot of Bloomburrow, which is really cool, especially as we've got these in here as well. Those look amazing. Let's do a little play test before we wrap up. Okay, so this hand has 2 lands in it and a bit of ramp. But it is not good. We shall mulligan. I get 2-3 mulligans when I'm playing with my play group. We have the Soul Ring, a mountain and a plains. And we only have 2 of our colours. So I'm going to do another mulligan. We have 3 lands this time. We have got a protection spell, an early protection spell. This is some turn 4 though. Ooh. Well, again, we're not able to go heavily into ramp, and that doesn't matter in Jeskai as long as we've got a way to protect ourselves, to keep ourselves and keep our resources safe. But also, if we get some of our removal, then we can hang with everybody because we're going to be taking their boards out. It's not great, but I'm going to keep it and see what happens. Let's change these settings to 4s. Okay, right, let's have a look. We'd want to go with the Thriving Isle first because it comes into play tapped and it asks me to choose colour other than blue. So at the moment, we'll go with white, some extra white. Untap, draw a card. Right, we've got counterspell interaction, which is cool. We'll put planes down now, and we probably won't want to do anything here because this has flash, and that's for protecting something, but we might like to counter something, which is cool. So we can just hang back for a second, which is absolutely fine to do. I'm going to have to make these settings smaller because those cards are huge. There we go. I'm just going to put them back into the hand so that when I click them, they go into the right place. Good. Draw a card. Let's say we countered something during that turn, so someone's behind, and we draw a card. Hey, cool. Right, Sunscorched Divide. Excellent. So we now get access to 3 mana. Maybe we could be able to copy something at this point, but we might as well just cast our commander. There's Zinnia. We can do that, can't we? Yes, we've got the blue and the red. Good. And then next turn, we're going to draw a card. It's not a land, which is a real shame. But we'll be behind on lands when we get to Beza, which is fine. We're going to cut a deal at this point. So tap, tap, tap. Each opponent draws a card, then you draw a card for each opponent who drew a card this way. Each opponent draws a card, and then you draw a card for each opponent who draws a card this way. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. And that goes into the graveyard. We didn't draw a land. Come on. Sad times. Oh well. What can we do? Hopefully we'll draw a land next turn, and we'll go off with Beza, and we'll get some lands, and that way also in treasure tokens, as it were. So sad. Okay, untap. Draw a card. Yay! Glacial Fortress comes into play untapped. Okay, so I'm going to, because it's a playtest, cast Beza, and when it comes into play, I am going to assume that people have got more lands than us because we missed so many land drops. It says, when it enters, create a treasure token if an opponent controls more lands than you. I think it's odds on that we can have that treasure token. So there's our treasure token. Just going to tap these lands. And do we think that they'll have more creatures than us? Yes, we do. So we're going to create some fish. Best case scenario. Do we think they're going to have more cards in hand than us? No, we've got 7. Okay, so we've got a 4/5 down and that one as well. Couple of 1/1s. Excellent. We're kind of cooking, but not really. Let's untap everything, draw a card. It's not a land again. Monster. So sad. Oh dear, what do we do here? It's a Luminous Broodmoth moment. Let's find that protects Beza, which we want to die now because then it'll come back as a flying creature and then we'll be able to repeat this horrible issue. So we're going to swing at someone, and we swing at someone and hopefully they kill it, and then it dies, and then it comes back and we create another treasure token. And we won't create anything else this turn. We'll untap. We're going to draw a card. It's not a land. Right. Let's start a new game. We need lands. We've got 3 lands in here and some expensive otters. And Mockingbird didn't feel good at that point because of the X on it. So we're going to mulligan. We've got, oh dear, mulligan. We shall mulligan again, but just because we need to see some lands. Here we go. Right, keep this. Draw a card. Command Tower. Good. We've got some ramp in this hand. That's fine. Next turn, we are drawing a card. We are going to play Sunscorched Divide and tap and have an Arcane Signet. We're going to untap. We're going to draw a card. Oh, Narset is going to stop people from getting too far ahead, which is what we want. We're going to tap this, 2 blue, and oh no, actually casting Narset into a board with no blockers, not a good idea for having a Planeswalker. So instead, Commander is coming out because we've got some cheap creatures that we can use Offspring with. We're going to untap, draw a card, play a land. Okay, let's do this. So we can cast either of these with Offspring. This is a when it attacks. This is when a non-creature spell is cast. The creature deals 1 damage to each opponent. Oh, Cutter deals there. That's cool. Or do we want to go with this one here? It's got Offspring of 1, so we can do this. Nope. Spine Lasher or Splash Lasher. I want to guarantee some more cards or ramp, so Cutter Deal's looking good, but I also want to have something out so that I can defend Narset. It's the Mage. Here we go. It gets another one because start dealing damage. 1 copy, untap, draw, rolling hamster, woo! 2 blue, this, let's cast Narset, let's get the Azure out so we've got more blockers, can't be blocked by creature power 2 or greater, and it makes something lose abilities. We're going to untap, we should have done this first, let's -2, and look at the top 4 cards of our library, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'll take Season into our hand, and we will pop these on the bottom of the library. And then we untap, and then we draw a card. Okay, well, I'm quite happy with how this has turned out so far. We've got loads of creatures there, pretty good. Yes, it was tragic. If that word tragic is a reference to that first game, you're absolutely right. But I like this game. We've got something that's stopping our opponents from getting ahead. We've got blockers. This can cause something to lose all its abilities. We're dealing damage. I like our hand. Season the Weavings here. So we could cast this turn, and we can return all non-land, non-token opponents to return each non-land, non-token permanent to... And sorry, let me just read this. Return each non-land, non-token permanent to its owner's hand. Well, we don't want to do that, do we? We don't want to wipe our board because we've got any ETBs there. We reset Narset though. Yeah, we are really behind if we do that. Maybe we can make some copies and draw some cards. We could draw 5 cards at this point, which isn't terrible. Anyway, suffice to say, after a long stream, that's not a terrible place to be in. And although we're not ramping ahead because we don't have green, we did have some artifact ramp, a way to stop people from getting ahead of us, a way to return all this stuff if we need to. We can draw loads of cards. Yeah, I'm happy with this. I'm happy that it represents Bloomburrow in a pretty beautiful way with no other cards other than Bloomburrow cards. Well, thank you so much, especially to the people who have stuck with me till the end. Appreciate that. This will be available after for you to rewatch. I will put a link to the deck list into the top pinned comment, and I'm going to return to do some more of these soon. I want to come back and do a dog meat one from Fallout. Don't forget that we are going to be playing all the upgraded precons that I have put onto the channel, which you can actually see on the channel in the next couple of weeks. It's a reunion of sorts of a few of us who play online together. This has been really fun, and I hope to do more of this soon. In fact, I'm also going to be doing my own first Sharpie Cube soon, so you can join me for that as well. Thank you so much. I've been MTG Specs. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this if you've got some friends who are into Bloomburrow and you think they might enjoy seeing this video. And until next time, I will see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye.